This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 355, recorded on May 10th, 2018. Here at Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting not from a stormy Bellevue, Nebraska, but a very beautiful. My co-host tonight, Maika Leibbrandt, she is broadcasting from a stormy. I think if we look outside your window, I think we're going to see some lightning. Is everything okay there?
Right out there. I don't know. The window's behind me, so you guys will just have to let me know if everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, so we'll get to have a front row seat of the weather going on there. Of course, we post a show with world-class show notes each week out at theaverageguy.tv. Don't forget, you can also join us live on our mobile app, Maika, something we really need at Gallup, by the way. We don't have this together there, but we have a mobile app for Home Gadget Geeks. You can download it, Android, iPhone, absolutely free. Best way to listen to the program when you're on the road because it just streams it just about everywhere, including on the airplane. You can get that easily. Head out to homegadgetgeeks.com and just download it. It's free. Put it on your phone. Don't forget, subscribe, rate, and review if you're an Apple podcast. You can do that right from the podcast app now on the phone, so you don't have to log into iTunes like you used to. Always appreciate that. Give us a couple good reviews. If they're bad, just leave them out. That's okay. You can subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification button. That way you know when we're going live. If you subscribe on the live channel or you subscribe on the recorded channel, either way, you'll know when I put stuff out there. And don't forget, if you're listening on Spreaker, that's for you, Peter. If you're listening on Spreaker, you can follow us out there and always be notified of what's going on. Just a quick show note, Mike Uyghur out tonight. He has kid duty, which happens from time to time. So, Mike, appreciate you and what you do. We miss you tonight. We'll get him back next week. So, because no Mike, no crypto conversation, and no post-show tonight. But tonight, I have with me, you guys might not know her, but I do really well, Maika Leibbrandt. She's my co-host over at for Theme Thursday. Gallup's Theme Thursday has been on a whole bunch of the Call to Coach programs that we've done. Is all things coaching and all things recertification and kind of all things Gallup. Maika, welcome to Home Gadget Geeks. Our worlds have collided.
This is like I don't know, like better than growing up when Disney on Ice became a thing and like all the characters all showed up in the same place. I might be all things coaching, but I'm just a beginner home gadget geek. I'm a closet home gadget geek and a super fangirl today. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. I feel like I've infiltrated the inner circle of Jimdom.
It's super funny because we were doing an episode of Theme Thursday, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, maybe something like that.
It was exactly a month ago because today is a month after my birthday and this gadget happened as a birthday gift.
Yeah, so you show this gadget and I'm like, I kind of podcast about this stuff and you were kind of, you knew, but you didn't really know.
Kind of pretended like I knew, but I had no idea.
You know what I did? So I said, yeah, well, head out to theaverageguy.tv, check this out. And you started right in the moment, I think. You were looking it up and you started listening and you're like, well, wait a minute. You do this for gadgets? And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe you and I have been podcasting together for 3, 4 years now.
3, almost 4. Yeah.
Something like that on the Gallup side. So if you go to coaching.gallup.com and you look at our Theme Thursday series, we're in our 4th year there helping our Clifton Strengths certified coaches and strengths enthusiasts around the world. We just celebrated a huge milestone for Theme Thursday, more than 16,000 downloads in the month of April, which was pretty awesome, by the way. Congratulations and thanks, Maika, for helping me.
Basically, what Jim and I do that we get paid for is all just the benefit of the playground that you have here on Home Gadget Geeks. So thank you for making it possible for me to have a job.
We do it here first, and then we take it over to the Gallup podcast and do it that way. So Maika and I every Thursday get together and have a great time helping people out with the Gallup strengths, our methodology, our coaching, we have 34 themes that we talk about. You and I get them a good opportunity. And Maika, I think the best part of it for me is we get to really discover and talk about what's best and right with people. Right. It's a super encouraging time. We have a big chat room. Today we had 50 live in the chat room, which was crazy.
I still can't believe that. I think what's really cool about it and so different from anything I ever do, and we've talked about this before, Jim, is the fact that we do it every week. And it's something we've committed to, even though both you and I think, are those type of people who like, tend to jump toward shiny objects a little bit easier than most. But it's that practice. It feels like not just an idea of let's talk about what's right with people, but let's make it a habit. Let's commit to it like it's almost ritualistic in that way. And I think that that creates a kind of space that might be similar to what y'all have here. Just really that kind of deeper level commitment where it doesn't just become an interesting topic every week, but it becomes part of your rhythm of who you are and what you think about.
Yeah, I think it just makes you a better version of yourself. And who doesn't, want to live in that? The great thing is, so I take the technology from here and take it to Gallup, but oftentimes I take what I learn at Gallup and I bring it back to Home Gadget Geeks. And so,
Mm.
it's no secret. My worlds are separate, but they're still very together. I'm known to wear Gallup gear on this podcast. I'm known to talk about it. I think it's very important. Most of my listeners know I'm a recruiter for them. That's really the job they pay me to do at Gallup is to be a recruiter for high school and college interns. We talk about that because it's tech related all the time. So that gets to match up. I don't necessarily talk about the strengths bit all the time, although people know that. I've had listeners contact me, ask me, hey, what does this mean? I took Strengths Finder, kind of what does it mean? And kind of walk me through it. So it's kind of cool tonight. We won't spend too much more time talking about it, but it's kind of cool tonight to have my work world and my Home Gadget Geek world. And Maika, it's been fun to see you kind of geek out about it. That's been the cool
Oh.
thing, the Home Gadget Geek stuff. Because like you did go back, you've been listening to a bunch of the episodes, right?
Well, geek out is a nice way to put it. You could have said, Mikey, you got super creepy super fast. And I told you this, Jim, though. I think I love cool solutions to problems, whether or not you knew you had the problem. So that's my sort of
Yeah.
gadget dumb. I just love stuff that's smart. So even without this, I consider myself a gadgety human. But the first thing that struck me when I discovered Home Gadget Geeks recently was I was just so impressed at how well you could make your guests feel like every single thing they said was not only credible but normal and appreciate it. And typically the word geek takes with it even a self-depreciating even humor, and there's none of that. And I just think that that speaks so volumes to your ability to just be in the right place and know who you are and just live this sort of authentic life. And a lot of what we've done at Gallup has come from you being able to say, this is a talent that I bring that's important to me, that I wake up thinking about at 3 a.m. How can I make use of that in a way that serves others? And this podcast here is such a great manifestation of the value that we get from you just loving this medium and loving this way to reach out and sort of wrap a little hug of appreciation around people and around ideas. And I'm just thrilled to get a little bit more of a taste of it.
Well, that's nice of you to say. It is this a little taste of what we do at work, which is we get to tell people how awesome they are and really get to find out what's best in them, right? And today, you and I just hours ago talked about communication, this theme of communication, and yet for me, it really is that desire, that drive to help people learn and grow, right? I've got this other one called Developer and another one called Woo, right? Which makes me want to drive people to learn and to be better versions of themselves and to win them over and to influence them, right? Those things. So it podcasting fit in really, really nice with who I was as a person.
Mm.
And this is 355. Micah, 300. Like
So
we've done
next
this.
time you will have spent the equivalent of a year doing one a day.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way.
Oh, no, that's not right. 365, not 356.
Well, okay, so in
Right, well, then
15.
in 11.
Oh, in 11, yeah. In 11 shows. Still, when we think about
A year of your life.
that's
One
a
a day.
year. Well, one a day for a year. That's pretty amazing. And yet, I don't think I can't even count on on a hand a time I've thought, I don't really want to do this tonight. I can't, I don't have those times where I think it's Thursday night. Oh, Home Gadget Geeks. I get amped every single time because we've had some great guests and I've got some great co-hosts and it is one of those things that allows me just to kind of to come and to have a good time and there's no pressure.
Yeah.
We have a great audience and the folks that listen are just they are the best audience in the world, much like the Gallup listeners who are fantastic. I have one of the best audiences in the world here. And so it's just pretty cool to be a part of that. And so I
Awesome.
appreciate you, Maika, for your work that we get to do at work. I got a great co-host in Mike Uyghur, who's with me now every week, and we've been doing it 2 years together. The folks before that as well. So, anyways, it's pretty cool to have you here. We are going to talk about some gadgets. We got some really cool kitchen gadgets that we're going to talk about tonight. What kind of kicked this whole thing off is a month ago, you were like, I got this really
Guess
cool mug.
what?
Right? So you got this Ember temperature controlled ceramic mug, but it's not like the old days where you had a heating plate and you put the ceramic thing on that. Talk a little bit about what you got there.
So this is the greatest invention of all time. My husband asked me tonight, he was like, "Are you advertising this thing?" I was like, "No, I'm going to give you an honest review and tell you the specs." So I will be honest, but shit, I love this thing. It's like the coolest thing ever. It is the answer to all of your coffee problems. The long and short of it is it keeps your coffee the exact temperature that you want it to be the entire time that you're drinking it. And it does it by Bluetoothing it to your phone and telling you when the exact temperature is reached. Mine, apparently, ideal temperature is 142 degrees. So it turns itself on. I found, now I'll talk about this in a little bit and some of the bugs that I've worked out, but the way it's designed, it turns itself on when it senses liquid in the cup. So you never even turn it off or on. When it senses some liquid, this little light at the bottom starts to flash until it reaches the temperature it's supposed to reach. So usually, I don't know, maybe you're the type of person who your coffee's too hot and you spend half of your drive to work waiting to be able to drink it. Maybe you're somebody like me who's just super snobby about how hot it needs to be and you order everything extra hot until the baristas hate you. But either way, whether you want it to warm up or down, once it hits that, it stays at it. And you can take almost the entire cup of coffee to drink it and it will stay the exact same temperature, and for the most part does not burn your coffee. Now, this happened once to me on a podcast we were doing together. I had to admit to you afterwards that I had left a swallow of coffee in the bottom of my mug for, I don't know, probably a better part of an hour. And then I swallowed it on air. And it's not just an audio podcast at Gallup, it's a video too. And it was one of those like Ron Burgundy moments where I just had to like swallow the fly and keep on trucking because it had burned the crap out of my coffee. But most of the time it does not. If you leave it there for an hour with only one swallow, it's not going to work. But it's great.
Do you set the temp on the app? So in other words, when you're in there, okay.
So if you go to their website, it will tell you a list of all of the compatible smartphones. Right now it's Android and iPhone, and I'm sure they're expanding to whatever else people use. But yeah, you set that temp and it's sort of like discovering your sleep number, which is a different gadget. If we ever want to talk about that, you need to play around with it a little bit. The hottest I found out that I use, you can see in the background, I have a Cuisinart that does a Keurig or side of things. My Keurig tends to brew at 167 degrees. So when it comes out, it's 167. The Ember doesn't go that high. So the highest temperature I think it has is like 155. And my sleep number is coffee. I love whoever that person is.
Yeah, it's Lopta. Yeah. We're all kind of addicted to coffee here. So I'm too. So apparently my best temperature is 142, which is, I think, on the high side, because it's on the high side of your scale. So it will tell me through the app when it says this nice little pop-up. It says your ideal drinking temperature has been reached. Enjoy your coffee. You can also enable it on your watch, on your Apple Watch, and it'll pop up and tell you there. I know, I'm a little more Apple-y than probably most people. No, it's okay. Yeah, we go both ways here.
That's the thing I love about you the most, Jim. Don't discriminate. The other cool thing. Okay,
so no judgment. No judgment.
It's empty, so it's off, but the light is kind of this cool turquoise color. If you have more than one Ember in your house, you can each set your own color so that it glows a specific color, because the only color that's available to order is this white color. Now, here's the trick. The coaster is its charger. And I've found without the charger, the charge only lasts about an hour. So yeah, so that's not much.
No.
So what I've ended up doing, and I still love this thing and have bought it for 3 people in the last month as graduation gifts and Mother's Day gifts. But what I found is I don't use it as my only mug. My first cup of coffee in the morning, I really like mugs and I have a ton of them and I like holding a mug. And this really only holds 8 ounces. Like it's overflowing at 8 ounces. So my first cup of coffee is more like get it into my veins. I'll just drink that out of a normal peasant mug. And then my second cup, I have at my desk, which I work from home. It's 25 steps from the rest of my house. By the time I need a second cup of coffee, I've usually already taken the kids to school and come back to go to work. And so I just leave the coaster plugged in my office. And so anytime I'm drinking from it, when I'm setting it down, it's going back on the coaster. But it senses when it's on it and charges itself. So as long as I have the coaster nearby, it stays charged. They do sell the coaster separately. So if you wanted to have like one at work and one at home, you could have one there. You wouldn't have to worry about
or a couple
mug
around the
dying.
house.
Yeah,
A
a
couple
couple
around
around
the
the house.
house
Yeah,
would
totally.
work. Maybe your desk or there in the kitchen if you were going to be in the. So and it knows, right? It knows your cup of coffee if you're changing coasters, right? So if you say you have 5 coasters in the house and 2 mugs and you're just using them wherever you're setting them down, it understands when it goes down. That coaster really is just the charging base, right? The
Yeah.
cup is the one that's communicating with the phone.
Right, and you can kind of tell. I mean, there's some weight to the bottom of the cup. This from here, like the bottom half inch is not open mug space. That's all like just the battery and the case is the sort of on off switch that you do have the option of turning it on and off. And so this is the piece that's talking to your phone. It's not the coaster. It's only a charger. The other thing that I have figured out, I had some trouble with it not pairing. Like it would stop recognizing my phone the first couple days I had it. And so I started just to shut it off when I was done with it and then turn it back on. And that fixed the pairing issues. But I only had to do that 2 or 3 times and it hasn't fallen out of sync ever since.
Okay.
I don't know what that was.
And just that one cup size? They're not making them
Just
10 inches or
there's a
12?
travel mug.
Okay.
This is the only mug, and then there's a travel mug. It's
Okay.
about twice the cost. But your travel mug is even cooler looking. It's black. You can buy a gold-plated ring for the top of it if you want a gold ring. It's at least twice the size of the mug, and it reads out the temperature in like a digital readout on the outside of the mug, so you can see the numbers, which is even cooler.
Yeah. No, we've got that up. So the Ember temperature controlled travel mug. The mug you're showing, 79 $80 on
Yeah.
Amazon. Let's just call it that today here in the United States. That's going to be $1 million in Canada. And then the Ember temperature controlled travel mug, 150. That's $2 million in Canada. That's another one of our running jokes here on Home Gadget Geeks because the Canadians always pay for more. Them and the Aussies always pay more.
It's a good thing they're polite.
Oh, they're super apologetic too. I'm terribly sorry that we have to pay more.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We have to pay more.
and I'm trying to get, do you know on the travel mug how much what's the do you know the ounces that it
Bigger.
that
More.
keeps bigger, more of it,
Let me
whatever
just
it
a
is.
note on those ounces though. Once your coffee stays the same temperature the whole time,
Yeah.
it changes how many ounces you think you need.
Really?
I was refilling my coffee because it was cold
Ah, gotcha.
and therefore drinking a lot more. I mean, I drink coffee all day long, but I drink it slower now because it's not a race to keep it the optimal temperature. So I don't drink as much as I did before.
Yeah. I like it warm and hot and cold, and I'm just drinking it the whole way day, the whole way through the day. This would be a tough one for me at work because I'm so mobile.
Because you're moving
And
around. Yeah.
yeah, our building is big. And so I am, I might have in the morning 3 different meetings in 3 different places and then 4 more meetings in the afternoon where I'm different. I would need more like and I stopped drinking coffee about noon. I try to anyways, stop drinking about noon. So I only need it for the morning. If I could stretch that battery out to a little more than an hour,
Yeah. I'd say that's a downside to it is the fact that you really do need to be closer to the charger. But your travel mug, if you're willing to pay almost twice the amount for 4 more ounces,
yeah.
Ryan in the chat room just did that homework for us
Yeah,
and told us
thanks,
it's 12
Ryan.
ounces.
12
Thanks, Ryan.
ounces. Yeah. And you said you could almost get 8 in there if you
You can. So my Keurig setting of 8 fills it perfectly.
Okay.
6 is more like what your waitress would fill it to.
Yeah.
8 is what you fill your coffee at when you're at home, or what you fill your wine glass at when you're at home because it's evening.
Yeah, Lopta says sometimes I drink coffee just because it's an exercise to get out of the office and walk across the road. I'm not gonna lie, I've got different times during the day in between meetings and stuff where I kind of take advantage. My office is on the very end of the building, farthest away from the restrooms and the cafeteria and all of our stuff. But it gets some steps in, right? So it's a good opportunity for me to get out, walk. So, I'll come in and it's really dangerous. I have a Starbucks right on my way. So I will order a Starbucks on my phone, pick it up through the drive, or walk in if it's there. They know me. That's bad. Like
They know, not only do they know you, they know your peppermint latte.
they do. They do. And they know I walk in, they're like, "Hey Jim, what's going on?" And they know I work for Gallup because I'm in Gallup gear all the time. So they're super friendly. I love going in there. But, there's a $5 cup of coffee right there, right? Then I head in. It's almost gone by the time I get there. I'll sit down, have a little breakfast at work, which is great. And one of those great things about Gallup. And then I'll get a second cup and work for maybe an hour or so sitting down there. Then I got to go upstairs about 10. Sometimes I go upstairs. Up, I'm gonna need a third cup. Like those are 3 healthy grande size.
Yeah.
Those probably 12 ounces, I think, each. So it's probably too much. But I do a paper cup at work, and I keep one a day and then toss it. That's not great for the environment. I love this for you, Maika. I think you're exactly right, and I'd love to experiment with what would that mean if my coffee stayed hot as opposed to it getting cold. Although I'll drink it any temp.
And you know what? I don't hate cold coffee. I don't even hate lukewarm coffee. It's fun to realize when you reach for your mug that it's just like that first sip.
Mm.
So it's almost more about the theatrics of having it perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's going to scream up and down if it isn't, but the fact that gosh, if I've been working away and I work at the same desk all day long, so that definitely makes me different than a lot of other people. But it's fun to realize, gosh, I've been sitting here for 2 hours. I've gotten totally lost in a project. I'm going to reach for my coffee and oh, it's still there. It's like a little hug in a mug, and it's waiting for me. So I'm biased because I love it, but I also love the idea of. I bought it for a couple mom friends of mine because of that, the fact that you're running around doing 1,000 things. And this morning I put oatmeal in the microwave and didn't get to it till literally 2 hours later. It was not hot anymore, and that was a reminder that oh gosh, there's other things that are vying for my time. Whereas with my mug, it doesn't feel that way. It makes me feel like I'm the most important thing no matter what time I get to it.
No, right on. No, it's good to because I've had that coffee in the afternoon where I've grabbed it and took a sip and it's super cold. And then I kind of think for a second, I'm just gonna finish it. And so I'll drink it, I'll just drink it cold, which isn't too bad. I do put a creamer in my coffee at work. So having a cold cup, not necessarily bad. All the cool kids are drinking it cold these days.
They're braver than I am.
No, I like it. The morning, I sometimes like it just because it's a hot cup of deliciousness.
You hold it with both hands and you just kind of like shrug your shoulders around it and it becomes a choreographed move.
Yeah. Yeah. No, right on. Well, okay. So we got the coffee cup taken care of, which is pretty good. I'd have to think, it wouldn't work at work. Micah, I am, while we're on the subject of coffee, I am here in the Average Guy.TV studios, this mess that is this thing, these studios that I have here. On Saturday mornings, I do this podcast called Ask the Podcast Coach, and it's 9:30 Central, 9:30 to 10:30, and then we have a post show 11 again, very similar to this. Dave Jackson's the host, and I just get to hang around. But I always get through my latte by, we start at 9:30. I make it fresh at 9:15. I'm done by the time we get to 10:15. It's gone, and I am dying for coffee. I am thinking about getting one of those mini Keurigs down here that I just have so I can pop in, right? So I can
Like
just
the
pop
hotel
it.
style, like the single.
Yeah, just a single, or even maybe one with a small, a
Yeah, the little
small,
ones.
yeah, enough for maybe 2 cups of coffee. I don't need much, and I would only brew it on Saturday mornings during the show. But I'd love to be able to have it sitting on the desk with some water in the back.
Should we talk about water?
Drop in the K cup. Yes. What do you know about water?
What I know about water is it is dangerous to have water in a confined space and think that you're on top of your world. My husband was gone for 3 weeks and I was home with the 2 kids, and I had this series of things that I did to feel sane. One of them was refill the water reservoir on the coffee maker every night. So I felt like I was like taking on the world and winning because I'd never seen the add water light. Well, I also, now when he's home, I brew a regular like pot, but because he'll drink it with me. But when he's not, I was going K cup style. It was just, enough for me throughout the day, all day long. And I went and bought some more K cups. And for about 2 weeks, I was like, man, these are got a different nuttier flavor. Like these kind of taste earthy. Maybe this is really fancy coffee. This must be what the 1% drink. And then the third week of that happening, I mean, we're talking the better part of a month, I looked in the back of the reservoir and it looked like dish soap.
Like a fish
I mean,
tank?
I was drinking
Oh,
toxic sludge and
yikes.
and it smelled earthy, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
So when you get your your average guy studio coffee maker, just make sure it doesn't hold more water than you need to keep in there if you're only drinking it on a Saturday. It took me like serious scrubbing. I probably looked like a cartoon orphan how hard I had to scrub in this reservoir to get the sludge off the edge. It was why I'm not going to let my kids have aquariums. It
Yeah.
was that bad.
Did you just filling up with tap water? Is that
Yeah, I was just
each
using
time?
tap water. Well, I had oh, this is super gross. It has a charcoal pod that goes in the base of it to supposedly, I don't know, save your life if you're drinking pond scum like I was. And I pulled it out and I'd never changed it since it had been
Oh,
like
yikes.
5 months. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
60 days.
Mhm.
I'd never changed it. I pulled it out and I think there was like a village of fish or something living in it. It was nasty. So
Yeah, we
I
use
had to stop.
distilled water just for that reason, and it's super cheap to buy at Walmart. And
Yeah.
so I have a Mr. I almost said Mr. Goodwrench, but that's the wrong brand. A Mr. Coffee. I have a Mr. Coffee espresso maker, which is why I can't like during the show. You can't. Those things are super loud. It's not like I could
Yeah.
bring that down here. It has a water reservoir, 34 ounces or something in the back, and we just use distilled water on that, and that keeps it super super clean.
Yeah.
And I never would have done that, but my wife, Sarah, she is very particular about that kind of stuff. And it keeps the lime and all the mineral buildup that you get on those kinds
I
of
needed to
things.
use, like,
Just
bathroom cleaners. It was
yeah.
like a
Oh.
CLR situation. It was
CLR.
super gr
That's some good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. We use a lot of CLR in the military, and that's some good stuff. Well,
you know that things are serious when that's how you clean your coffee maker.
Mhm. Lopta reminds me I have lost 2 mixers to liquids down here in the Average Guy.TV studios. Both of them wine, though, not coffee makers, but both of them wine. I've spilled wine on 2 mixers and had to replace them. So, do I really I think the question is valid. Do I really want to chance it by having a coffee maker down here and
Well,
water?
wine is more spillable than coffee, right? Because it
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah.
less alert.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ryan Jackson says the Swamp Thing was growing
It
in your
was.
coffee maker. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
you
not
got to
proud
watch
of
out
it.
for that. And that is one of those things that if you can plumb it directly, that's I think a better way to go. The next upgrade for me, I think, is going to be one of those really fancy espresso makers where it grinds it,
And
packs
can you
it,
plumb it?
runs it. You can plumb them. Yeah.
But don't
Yeah.
you still have the same problem with tap water then?
Well, you would run it through a filter before you do that. So, I don't know. We'll see. We got to move before we do any of that stuff. I'm not gonna put that in here if we're gonna move. So,
So I actually, you can buy a plumbing kit for pretty reasonable, but it's apparently only a North America thing that you can buy in like a Home Depot or someplace. Because we tried to plumb a coffee maker at our workplace when we were in the UK. And we just kept thinking, gosh, of course we can do this because you'd buy the same kit in the same aisle as you would look for anything that you're going to fix, like your indoor ice maker in your refrigerator or something. Nope, doesn't exist because ice makers didn't exist. It was just not a priority. We ended up having our parents ship us the plumbing system from the US so that we could figure out how to do this. And I
yeah, a
think
little
we still
different.
had the sludge issue.
Yeah, well, you definitely gotta, if you're gonna do that, you gotta put some filtration on it to get all those minerals and all those pieces out. But I keep saying I'm gonna get a new one until my Mr. Coffee goes belly up, but it just keeps working. So we'll see how it goes. All right, enough coffee talk. Let's move
Wait,
over to
bottom line on the
okay.
coffee.
All right, yeah.
If you're buying this because you like gadgets, you're gonna love it. If you're buying it because you like mugs, you're gonna need to learn to love it.
Okay. Not so much on the mug side, but definitely keeps it that temperature.
It
You do
does.
your own custom color, and it's $80. We are talking $80 for a coffee mug, Micah.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous, but okay. It is probably the best gift you can give somebody. If
There you
there's
go.
somebody who lives in that $80 gift giving range, it's one of those things that it's harder to justify buying for yourself, but it's
Mhm.
gonna knock somebody's socks off if they're a coffee drinker and need a gift.
Yeah. Ken says, "Love our reverse osmosis filter. Insanely good water. Sounds strange to say, but it's so true. Yeah, if you live in an area where your water's questionable, here in Bellevue, we actually have really good water. So I have we don't have we don't soften it, we don't filter it. I just bought a filter. I just bought one of those pure water pitchers, that have the filter built in, and I don't know why I just wanted a pitcher, and I'm like, well, if you're gonna buy a pitcher, you might as well buy one with a filter in it. And we just now $24 on Amazon or whatever. I'm sure it's doing nothing because our water is so good here.
I had
But
one of those for a long time. It was just nice to have it in the fridge because I would grab that instead of like a can of something else I could drink.
Lopta just said he fired up the Coffeetron 2000. So
Yes.
he is definitely. Oh, I had a bug, just big bug flying my light here. Well, okay, let's move from coffee to
Let's
food.
fry things.
Yeah, let's talk about a fryer because you have picked up. I didn't know Phillips was making these fryers, but this is Phillips, same company.
This is Phillips hedging their bets.
I know this is the same company that makes smart light bulbs, by the way. Phillips is getting this. This is the advanced digital turbo star air fryer, right? I'm assuming, Maika.
Look at this; it's bigger than my head. Like it goes from my belly button to my shoulder. And I'm kind of tall. It's
okay. So on
huge.
Amazon, the picture on Amazon, I will throw the link to this thing in the chat room. The picture on Amazon does it no justice because you literally think from the picture
there might be different sizes though. This one is called the XL Bertha over here.
Yeah, it's the big one, huh? Do you know what size it doesn't matter. This is the 2.75 quart is the one I'm showing here.
Mine's just called extra large.
Doesn't really matter. I'm going to throw a link to it in the chat room. You can, if you're thinking about doing something like this. I bet actually there's a few in the chat room who have an air fryer. Maika, what's the advantage? Obviously, there's no oil, so you're not frying it that way. But how have you liked it so far?
Well, you want to talk health because I'm sure there's health, but for me, it's all about convenience. Since we've had this, and it was a gift, it was given to us, I think, because my mother-in-law wanted one for herself, but she couldn't quite go out on a limb and buy one for herself. So instead, she bought one for all her kids, and then we in turn bought one for her. But it is since we've had it, and we've had it for 3 weeks, I have not used my oven because it heats up in 3 minutes to like 400 degrees, 4 minutes if you need to go higher than that. And it cooks things in half the time. So if you read, and me and my husband both work full time and we've got 2 small kids. So nobody is at home cooking except it's all about convenience in our world. We do a lot of sort of pre-prepared frozen things like chicken strips or pizza or mini corn dogs now that we have an air fryer. Or we'll even do tonight, we actually use the fryer for like a from scratch piece of meat, which is the first time that we did that. But we're all about convenience. What I love more about it than even the health side of things is how fast and clean it is. There's almost zero cleanup, and it sort of replaced my oven. So I'm saving on energy and I'm not heating up my whole house. That's what I love. So it's got this tray inside of it. It looks like a tennis racket.
I think it's huge.
Again, we have the XL version. My sister-in-law had one and she recommended just get the biggest one you can get, which I would agree with. You can also get all sorts of other inserts that have you could stack on top of it so you could layer different things. But we just have this basket. I don't know if you can see that it is a basket. So it's got a cage on the bottom of it and it sits in a drawer. And there's a casing for the drawer that also comes out that you can just pop in the sink and wash if you want. And then all of that slides back into the fryer. And that is all the moving parts. So I also like that there's very little that can go wrong from a hardware standpoint. And all you do is you turn it on and you set your temperature. There's 2 sort of gauges. There's a temperature gauge and a time gauge. And it's even got some shortcuts on the cover of here's the temperature that you need to cook some popular things at. What I've found, and this has just been based on me Googling, I found that generally if you take the instructions for how to cook something in a conventional oven and you subtract about 70 degrees Fahrenheit and do the time by about 2/3, then that's about right for you. So you're saving time, you're saving energy, and it's crispy all the way around it. So tonight we made schnitzel because like good German heritage people, we know schnitzel.
Schnitzel is delicious. I'm not gonna lie. It's super good. No, it's super good.
Turns out not as good in my kitchen in Virginia as it was in Germany.
Right. At the restaurant with the pommes frites.
But I'm that kind of a snob. So if you've never, if you're not trying to meet that kind of a standard, you'll be fine. But it was great. We had some just like pork cube steak, and I covered it in schnitzel breading, but you could just cover it in breadcrumbs and eggs. And we just dropped him in, and it was big enough to hold 2 quarter-pound patties at a time, completely from not frozen, not prepared, completely from raw. And it took me 12 minutes
Wow.
to cook 2 of them. And the cool thing was, since it wasn't in the oven, and we had a big debate after the kids went to bed about would this have been just as good in the oven. And it wasn't as good as frying it in grease because it wasn't quite as moist, but it was crispy all the way around because you got that basket and you don't have a layer of it that's sitting on something in the oven. So you don't have like a gooey layer on the bottom. It's worth it. It's phenomenal. We started to fry everything. Like I'm ready to fry like broccoli just to see what happens.
You might want to steam that. That's a little better steamed than it is, I think,
Healthy.
fried. But give it a try. Give it a try. You never know. We for some reason I've been on a bloomin' onion kick, right? And if you know out back here in the United States, they're famous for these bloomin' onions. But I don't want to fry them. I really want to grill them after our big grilling show. For whatever reason. So I've actually watched some videos over the last couple days, brought Sarah in. Hey, they show you how to cut them. So now I know how to kind of prepare it. That's a whole thing. By the way, if you're going to ever do a bloomin' onion, there's 2 ways to do it. You can cut it yourself, which there's some little tricks. Just Google it and watch it on YouTube. Super easy to do. Or they make a gadget that's a bloomin' onion cutter. And you just put the bloomin' onion on top and then set this thing down on top of it, push it down, and it cuts it perfectly like you get in the restaurants. It's
And then you bread it?
crazy. Well, I've watched videos where you can bread it and grill it, or you can just season it and put it on the grill for an hour. 350 on the grill. I've seen them put it on cedar planks. I've seen it done inside an envelope of tinfoil. Different ways. I think people just kind of have to figure that out, right? But that is one of those things it's just funny that we were talking about this and I mentioned it to you and you're like, ooh, we could do that easily in the air fryer.
Yeah, see, I think the air fryer, we had a night this last weekend where we're big grillers. I mean, year round. It doesn't matter if it's snowing, we're still going to be grilling. And it's just easier and more fun. But we had a night last weekend where we used both the grill and the air fryer because I stuck French fries and onion rings at the same time, a bag of each of them. That's how big this Bertha thing is. I had a whole bag of frozen French fries and frozen onion rings in the fryer. And then on the grill, we were doing burgers. And it was great because the timing worked out perfectly. Usually, I think it probably would have taken your fries about twice the amount of time it does to grill a hamburger. So that was great. Then we just got creative and we decided to see what happens if we put hot dogs in the fryer. And they were great. They were like really, really good. And we're snobby about our hot dogs too. So they were really good hot dogs. And we didn't totally try it from zero. We actually had heard from a friend that they're good in the fryer. I think we're a little bit too worried to risk it on hot dogs, but it was great. It made it crispy all the way around. You don't get the char that you do on the grill, but you also don't have to supervise it like you do on the grill. So I'm going to try an onion. We're going to do an onion and let you know how it goes.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things I've been wanting to do when the kids come over because you can I want to throw it on the grill. They recommend you cook it at 350. That's the lowest setting my grill has. And I want to go out there. I want to try smoking it one time. I want to try it breaded. I want to try it not just seasoned. I want to try it with some cayenne. I want to try it with some hot sauce. I want to try it with barbecue sauce. Like I want to try all these different kinds of things. And then when because the kids come over on Sundays, that'd be a cool thing to start at maybe like 4, let it cook for an hour, bring it off the grill, let it cool for a few minutes. And that's the hors d'oeuvre while you're kind of waiting for, we're waiting for whatever,
You
to come up.
can't beat a grilled onion. There's just something amazing about what a grill does to an onion. But I think we should do a side-by-side comparison of putting one on the grill and one in the fryer and just see what happens.
No, that fryer is going to be good. Have you, on when we think about the fryer there, have you tried sweet potatoes on that? Just slice them up in fry size.
I haven't. I have a sweet potato. You want to try it?
Yeah. Actually, no, I don't want you to try it because I want to eat it and I can't. You're just going to tease me with it. But
So
Um,
it just occurred to me that you might be a real person and not just my friend in the computer.
yes,
You completely
yes.
ruined
I
the
know we only
facade
see
there.
each other once a year, but it is, we've been doing a lot of sweet potatoes lately, and because they're easy and they're
Yeah.
tasty, and we just, we throw them in the oven. I've been figuring out different ways to try and grill them. The Mike Howard, one of the guys on the Big Grill Show, we got one of those frog mats, and of course those are beautiful for a little.
Yeah.
You just brush them down with a lot of olive oil and put those on there. We also picked up, Micah. We've been drinking a little bit more. I'm just going to say it. And so Sarah picked up two things that she picked up recently, little gadgets that were nice. One is a fruit squeezer. I don't know what you call them, but you put the lemon in there, and
Put the lime in the coconut.
and it
What are
just is,
you?
and it's like ceramic, and it's just strong and good. And like, so when you're making I don't know what she uses it for, but when we're making anything and you want to get all that juice out instead of doing it by
And
hand,
she's
it's just,
gotten good at cocktails, right? So it's
oh, she's
perfect
really
cocktail
good.
tool.
Yeah. And then
Ooh.
she bought a little egg gadget that literally is just, you put the egg on the center and you flip the thing over, and it's got the metal things, and it just slices it
My mom had one of
perfectly.
those when we were growing up. So this is like, I think she had one in the 80s, probably the original one. And I thought it was a harp when I was really little because it's got these like really, really
Yeah.
sharp
Yeah.
things that are super, super small. And it looks like she'd be able to, play it while somebody's in the tub.
We've never had one of those. And so my daughter was up there helping her, slice. We were making egg salad. And so she was, cutting them up that way. And it was just a little gadget in the kitchen,
There's
just one of those
very
helpful
little
things.
as satisfying as like the first time that egg slicer cuts the egg and it kind of jumps back and then you realize it's penetrated that egg and it is going.
Uh-huh. And it's perfect.
Yes, it's
I think it's
perfect.
satisfying when you pull that egg off the slicer,
And all the slices are even and
and
it
it
can
just
just
falls
make
over,
everything better.
and you're just like, ooh,
Yeah.
nice. So
Mm.
those are
Okay,
some
so I need to
good,
try some sweet potato fries, is what you're
yeah,
saying. You know
I
what
do.
got me turned on to just the idea of a vegetable and some olive oil and salt and pepper is I tried HelloFresh for a
Yeah.
couple months.
Oh, yes. We should
And
talk
it
about
taught
this.
me that you really don't need that whole much to dress up a vegetable. You can roast just about anything. So I think my next goal is going to be throw vegetables and olive oil and salt and pepper into the air fryer.
Yeah.
But talk to me about your experience because I
Well,
did convince you, right, to use my promo code and
you did, and I did, and I got a bunch of
try
stuff
some
for
HelloFresh.
free.
Mhm.
I think I talked about this a while back, but all in the show notes, I'll throw, they give you all kinds of free. Don't ever pay the first time, get that first service from them for free. So in the show notes will be for HelloFresh. But we have been struggling, Micah, to kind of come up with recipes. We got the same recipes that we're doing over and over and over again. And Sarah's kind of burned out on them, and I'm not, because I'm a guy. I'll eat crayons. But she was kind of burned out on them.
As long as they've got squeezed fruit on them
That's right. Little
and a
lime,
sliced egg.
lime
What's
like
this? This
that.
is cyan blue, darling. Enjoy the wax.
It's exactly right. So we ordered a box before my daughter came home from college. We ordered the couple box, basically, for two people for 2 days, for two meals. And I think you get to choose from about eight, which is great. And they come with like instructions, like idiot proof instructions. Mike, I have not seen, like, it is indeed. And I'm not just like, HelloFresh is not a sponsor. And I'm not just saying this because, I want you guys to buy it, but for us, all of a sudden it was like everything you need is there, and you just cut it up or slice it up. They sent us some sweet potatoes that were super fresh, and we cut those up and made that. They've got tacos, and we did steak, and they got a chicken in there. We did
The
this
whole chicken.
bowl.
You actually had to find a space in your backyard for
I
it,
know
or
we did. It kind of came clucking. Its head was sticking out of the box. What's amazing is the packaging on this, because that
oh,
when they
it
ship
is
it to you,
incredible. Not only
I
is it
s-
great, but they remind you that it's great. It
yeah.
comes in like it's like a really thoughtful parking garage.
Uh-huh.
Like one, it's like those parking garages that have the green lights under the like open spots. It's that smart. So it comes in the very bottom is all of your meats and all of your things that need to be extra carefully frozen or taken care of. And then there's a little sign above them that says, don't forget there's meat in the bottom of this package. And then all your vegetables and stuff come above it. It's super fun.
No, it's great. And the bags, it's like recycle me and recycle this, and they tell you how to recycle the ice bags that are in there.
And the ice bags are among the best. So I have, for other reasons that I won't mention because it makes people squirm, I've done a lot of research into ice packs and figuring out the best ones will stay coldest for the longest and like which ones can you travel through airports with. And they use the ones that I figured out are the best, the Arctic ice, Arctic cat, something. But I was really shocked to see the quality of their ice packs in HelloFresh. I haven't used them for a while. I'll say I haven't used them for several months because there's never more than one adult in our house. But it's fun. It's really fun. And I really like that you don't have to think at all about what you're going to do or how you're going to do it.
Oh, it really is easy. Box comes, undo it, we put the meat in the fridge. The bag has everything that you need. Open that up, grab it, and they've got the coolest little gadget cups and stuff in there. Like they ship you just what you need. We had one that had like a jelly sauce on it. And we got this little tiny thing of jelly. We needed for last night's meal, we needed sour cream. And they shipped us these little tiny individual packets of sour cream, which was super cool.
So what do you think about cost on HelloFresh? Do you save money?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think I think it's a little bit cheaper. Like if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings for the three of us, it's a $65 or $70 meal, right? So if I did that twice, it's $120. I get 4 meals for that. Three meals, sorry. I get 3 meals for 4 people for that same price. So yeah, maybe it is actually a little cheaper than eating out.
Yeah.
Could you do it yourself? Our goal on this is to kind of figure out some new things that are easy for us to make. Let me give an example. Sarah's not a big quinoa fan, right? And one of the meals had quinoa in it, and she was super like, oh, I don't know, like, so I made it. By the way, quinoa is super easy to make. Like this is drop dead easy, like crayons. Boil the water, put the quinoa in, lower the heat, put the lid on. 10 minutes later, it's done. By the way, I said, hey, Amazon device, set a timer for 10 minutes, right? Okay, everything is timed. And you can set multiple timers on your digital assistant.
Were you telling your digital assistant to set the specific timer? Because that's what we started doing. Hey, yes. Amazon device, the potatoes will be done in 10 minutes.
Right. And it'll tell you, right? Which is super awesome. Sure enough, open the lid, quinoa's done. It's like somehow magically appeared. Done, right? So we've been trying to come up with some recipes out of this that we'll make ourselves or that we'll tweak. We had some cilantro last night that Sarah was like, oh, I can make this again in a second. And so it's some of those kinds of, it just kind of gets you over the hump. So I think if you've been struggling a little bit to find some healthy alternatives, because these are pretty healthy meals. Are they like Weight Watchers healthy?
No, but they come with all the nutrition facts.
They do.
And so you really can. My husband was counting calories when we were doing it, and he was impressed, and it was helpful to be able to know exactly what's in there. The other thing I'd say is it's not huge risk. You don't have to quit it. You can just pause it as long as you want. You can do it all from the app on your phone. And so I've been on pause for like 4 months, and I can still like log back in and sort of see what the recipes are. And if I decide I want to go to the grocery store and buy all that stuff and cook it myself, I can still access all those recipes. I haven't been because I've been doing, like you said, it comes with recipe cards. They're nice, like cardstock pieces. And we just kept the ones that we really liked. And so now, because those cards are there, we're checking them out and using it as ideas for what do we do. No. I think when you think about like the cost effectiveness of using it as a home cook, I think you could probably cook yourself a week worth of meals for less, but I don't think you could do it with the variety of ingredients because they ship you exactly the amount of things that you need. If I were to go out and buy a bunch of cilantro, it's like, I don't know, $1.75 just for the cilantro that I would have to then figure out how to use 5 times versus they'll send me just enough cilantro to put into one dish. And it's a little bit more cost effective that way if you like variety and if you're up for that.
Yeah. No, here's the app just right there. You get to go in and just kind of pick your meals, go through. They do have some premium meals, so if you want to pay $5 more per person for those, you can. They're usually the more fancy.
Is that next week? Is that the couscous cherry glazed pork thing?
I think it
that will rock your world.
Oh, there's some cherry drizzled pork
Yep.
chops
I've made that
with tomato
again.
couscous salad right there.
I kept that one. I've made it on my own even without the box. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are. And you think, oh yeah, yeah, it's the recipe. It's not going to be like it is, but they're pretty close. And my daughter loves doing it today. Last night, she actually got the whole meal started before Sarah and I even got home. So I told her, hey, Hello Fresh box is coming today. Make sure you pull it off the
Cool.
steps, right? So she unpacked it, put it away, and then she was like, okay, which meal are we going to do tonight? And so, she had it going. Sarah came home and helped her finish it up. So I think it's one of those gadgets when we think about, this is like Amazon meets difficult dinner decisions, because you can make some decisions in advance, like the week before, say, hey, this week we're going to do 3 meals, or this week we're going to do 2, or like you said, skip it, we're going to do 1, all on your phone. We actually planned the next week because we're skipping a week. So we're doing 3, then we're going to skip a week and do 3 and skip a week. That's kind of what we're thinking we're going to do for at least the next couple weeks. I'm on my phone during dinner. We're talking about, like, what do we want to order? And and you can hand the phone around, and but how cool is that? Then 7, 8 selections, we pick 3, and they're all set for 2 weeks from now.
I
Well,
like that. I wish
yeah,
normal recipes were written the way that those are written too, because it's a very holistic recipe. It's like, okay, the first thing you need to do is boil the water. I know that sounds so dumb, but by the time your water is boiling, that's when you need to start simmering the next thing. And so it takes into account every aspect of your meal instead of just giving you a recipe for your side and a recipe for your main. It's a pretty cool thing.
yeah. So if you're listening to this, I got a bunch of coupons for it. You should not pay. And I get a little credit if you use mine. So if you can't find it anywhere and you're listening to this, just shoot me a note on either on Twitter at Jay Collison or Jim at theaverageguy.tv. I will ship you over I think it's a $45 coupon or something.
Yeah, I think you get like a free week or something. And it's not just because Jim is super cool and hosts a podcast. HelloFresh is not sponsoring this. Once you sign up, you also get the coupons to give away.
They do. Yeah, you can pimp it, and it's a great marketing plan for them to be able to do it. But Maika, you're right. It's this, for me, it's this combination of it shows up on the porch. The fresh, vegetables and ingredients are in bags, like a big lunch bag. You just put them in the fridge. You can throw the meat in the fridge or in the freezer, kind of based on when you're going to use it next. Like you said, the instructions are super easy. Most of the meals can be made in 30 minutes. It really can. If you're struggling with that dinner time thing, or you're late, or you're working, or you don't have time to do it, even on the weekends, we've thought about making it on the weekends and then holding it over, right? Putting it in the fridge and having as leftovers. That's another. Sarah and I could buy the 2-pack, or the pack that's designed for 4 people, have it one night, save it for. By the way, they got some really cool recipes in there too that have dinner and then a burrito that you make for the next
Breakfast
day.
recipe. They're super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's super cool. So if you haven't checked it out, I think they compete with Blue Apron. Either one, I don't care. Just think about if you're struggling in that area. And I know a lot of
Or if you're
families
not
are.
even struggling in that area, but if you're just feeling generally stressed, think about that as being one thing you could take off your plate. No puns intended.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you don't realize how much stress like meal planning brings on you. And we talked about this a little bit earlier today, Jim. I feel like it's one of those things that, like it or not, tends to fall on one member of the family more than anybody else. And it's not always the mom, but it just seems to be the weight that like the same person carries over and over again. So what I love about it is it alleviates from everybody. And then everybody can decide if they like dinner, or they can be snobby and decide they don't. And
Yeah.
it's okay because it's no longer a personal attack on anyone.
Right. Well, Opta says if I could cook, I'd teach my daughter to cook. That way she could turn her nose up at her own output. Yeah, no, right on. Well, it's funny. Samantha, my daughter, is working more. She loves doing that kind of stuff. And so she's really seeing this as an opportunity this summer to kind of learn some of these different, because it's not, learning to cook is not always just about the gadgets or the temperature, or do I put it in boiling water or not. Sometimes it's the chemical makeup of how you're putting the food together and when you put it together, right? Some of
Mhm.
those things are really, really important, and how you do it. Practice makes perfect. This is an idiot proof way of really getting meals, putting them together, and just It's hard to mess them up, Micah. They gave you exactly what you need. Throw it in, do what they tell you. Like it's idiot proof. So, well, Micah, anything else that any other
Thank
gadgets?
you for letting me infiltrate your evening world. I have a billion other gadgets, but I have high communication, so it would never end.
Spoken in typical Gallup form. I have high communication. Everybody's like, what is
it's
that?
like, what? And is it show up like a rash? Like, what should you get that checked out?
See a doctor, or
is that something you should be telling us?
In the Clifton Strengths world, Micah and I have a lot of similar tendencies. That's what makes us do so well, I think, in this podcasting world that we do, because we love to talk, we love to help people, and we love to get a message out. And so, Micah, thanks for filling in for Mike. He was most interested in the air fryer, so I am sure he is going to want to watch this or see it again.
What I thought, we really should have just fried something.
I know.
The amazing thing is how fast it goes from frozen to ready and better than it could have been. It is.
Here, I'll tell you what. Let me close the show. You go grab a sweet potato. Try
the sweet potato. Okay.
Slice that thing up. So let me close the show. You go grab it right now and start getting it ready. Then in the post show, we'll do it. Okay. So don't forget, first of all, thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Those of you who are over in the chat room, and appreciate you guys coming out. Don't you want to join us on Patreon? And typically we'd have a post show available for you with Mike. He's not here tonight. I probably won't produce this post show, but stay around if you want to see us cook. So you want to see Micah cook a sweet potato. We're going to do that in the air fryer here in the post show tonight. But don't forget, if you want to get access to all of those, or you want to help out the podcast, you can join us live on the Patreon account. Head out to theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. If you want to join us out there, you can. I mentioned this earlier. You can contact me if you want to send me an email. If you want to get that HelloFresh coupon for whatever, Jim at theaverageguy.tv. You can nail me on Twitter at J Collison. I'll get you that as well. Don't forget, join our Facebook group. I may talk about some HelloFresh recipes out there. There goes Micah's. Hold on, Micah. Let me focus on you.
Can you teach me about crypto while I do this?
I probably could. We could probably do some cooking. Ooh, that's a new show. Cooking.
Cooking.
Cooking and crypto. Let's see, where are we going? Okay, so join us in the Facebook group, theaverageguy.tv. No, facebook.com/group/theaverageguy. If you want to get great media and web hosting like I do here on this podcast, and they are a sponsor of the show, head out to maplegrovepartners.com. We thank Christian for the work that he does to make this work flawlessly. We haven't had a problem, and I can't even remember the last time we had a platform problem. It's so good, so secure, so reliable, so high speed. If you want to get plans, they start as little as $10 a month, maplegrovepartners.com. Don't forget the live app. What do you got there, Micah? What was that?
I have a small red potato. We're going to try both.
Ooh,
just as
good.
A scientific experiment.
I just got the camera on you, so while you're cutting things up, we're gonna.
You just keep talking. I'm sure people are listening.
I know. Hey, turn the camera down. Can you move the camera down a little bit so we can see what you're cutting there while we're doing this? Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. Well,
you can also see the bottom of my computer.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's good. That Gallup, that's a Toshiba, right? One of the Gallup.
Yeah, it's one of the super old ones that they're phasing out.
I know, but it still works, doesn't it?
It's amazing how much it still works. It's the one that's worked the longest for me. And I'm not traveling as much anymore, so it doesn't matter to me that it's super heavy.
We're getting a lot of positive feedback in the chat room about cooking with crypto.
Okay, I know nothing about crypto, but I want to learn. So I'll just
ask me some
try
questions.
things.
Okay, well,
and you teach me about crypto.
This could be interesting. Don't forget the mobile app sponsored by LastPass. We appreciate their sponsorship of what they do there for us each year, as they have a full year sponsorship. If you haven't gotten the app yet, head over to theaverageguy.tv/ I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Head out to homegadgetgeeks.com. There's a lot of distractions as I'm thinking about what she's getting ready to cook. Head out to homegadgetgeeks.com, and you can get it as well. All right, we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, over here at theaverageguy.tv live. Stay around for crypto and cooking as we air fry some sweet potatoes and some other yummy stuff that Mike is throwing together. We'll talk a little crypto in the process. With that, we'll say goodnight, everybody.